Hello guys, I'm Lustar. I'm gonna teach you how to be a real Lustar, starting by this very first introduction to the game Conqueror's Blade. Conqueror's Blade is a very good game. It merges well the strategic aspect of Age of Empires and the relentless action from Dynasty's Warrior, both gathered into the structure of a classical MMORPG. I don't like MMORPG at all. At first, I was reluctant to play the game. Therefore, I made some strategies to optimize my grinding time and about the way I will build and maintain a strong economy. I will share some tips with you, but first you will need to understand the basics. To begin with, we are choosing our server. If you wish to play on EUW1, you will have to swap the server, because the server 2 is set by default. Make sure you are on the right one. We can't transfer our character. You will have to recreate a new one. Also, if you are from Canada and you want to play in EUW, choose the EUW one. We got many Canadians in the server, the ping is not an issue at all. After this step, you will end up in the tutorial. The game will ask you some interesting questions, like if you prefer blood or glory, or an omelette du fromage. Each answer will grant you attribute to your character. Don't worry if you made a mistake, we can correct it later. Try to do something logical. Take armor or strength if you play melee, agility if you want to start with a bow. Now we are in game. We want to change the settings. Most players are not comfortable with the cinematic mode. I recommend personally the normal mode. Feel free to swap between the two if it is necessary. In the UI section, I checked all the boxes to display the more informations we can. If you use them correctly, that's a good way to sharpen your gameplay. It works for every game. I'm a bit disappointed by this menu. We are unable to see the health bar above the head of your unit, nor the ones of your allies. In my opinion, this small feature would have synergized very well with support spells, for instance, the heal of the longsword class. The aim assist option. Even if the game looks like a third-person shooter, when you are playing musket or bow, activating aim assist won't be a cheat that will hide your lack of skills by shooting the head of your enemy while you are aiming at his feet. For the musket class, it works more like an int. You can see a red circle representing the area triggering a critical hit. However, aiming for a headshot will deal higher damage. In this picture, a headshot is represented by the red skull. Enabling the option can also be a source of issues. For instance, with short sword and shield. In a situation where you faced an enemy, if he is rolling on the side and you have predicted this move, you wish to punish it with your shield throw. Even if you are following the enemy with the camera, the spell will aim at his previous location. To prevent a failure like this one, I unchecked the boxes. A few words about the roll. Rolling is of course a movement that will help you to evade direct hits from your enemy or extracting yourself from a bad situation. It can also extinguish fire on your character caused by burning damage from flaming arrows, scorpion or boiling oil traps. We go back to the main asset, your character. Your character has attributes. You will earn attribute points that you can freely spend from level 1 to level 60. After this level, you stop earning those points. But you can keep doing your quest. A NPC will give you 3 items to reset your character stats. Now we are explaining the leadership. The leadership is basically the credit that you use to raise your army. At level 60 you reach the normal cap, 700 leadership. You can extend this cap by crafting the attribute leadership on your items. Also, there is a common way to extend this cap. Wearing the complete Carnifex set will grant you an extra 100 leadership. To illustrate the value of leaderships, I will go to the barracks. I select a tier 5 unit, the higher tier for now in the game. We can notice that his value is 350 leadership. We will now talk about your character's closest friend, your mount. Don't buy items at the NPC yet. We need our bronze to build a good army. However, later in the game, you can buy the fast turning horse. This mount will be very efficient if you play spear, bow or glaive. From time to time, you will have to heal it. When your horse dies in battle at the end of the game, the satiety bar will decrease. You will need to buy hay to the NPC to replenish it. Otherwise, your mount will be unable for the next fight. We will go back to your character and we will talk about the item. Do not click on Repair All button. Your items have durability, the endurance attribute. The maximal endurance attribute is reduced by each reparation. You can guess, one day your item will break at the end of every game, until it becomes unusable. But don't worry, there is a good news. You can recondition your items to their maximal endurance. This process takes place to the armorer. Simply choose the option reconditioning. You will have to pay the fees and the materials required for the original craft. Sometimes at the end of your games, you will loot epic items with pink attributes. They are not reconditionable. However, they are good to begin with, feel free to use them. About gearing, don't need to waste your silver on items. Later, when you have materials and green schematics, you can craft your weapon. It will be a good upgrade to start with, and also, if you have praised Le Toucan, you might end up with a very good stat that can compete with weapons from blue schematics. Items can be bound or unbound. A bound item can only be used by your character, whereas the unbound one can be sold to the market. You can unbind a piece of gear using the reconditioning process. Nevertheless, you have to pay the fee with unbound materials and in silver coins. It is not possible to trade player to player in this game. You can't exchange items. You have to trade through the market. Nevertheless, it is possible to organize the trade with the seller. The seller will put the item on sale. It will be in pending time during 4 or 5 hours before the transaction will appear on the list. Only the seller knows the pending time. Therefore, he can give an approximate schedule to the buyer. However, it is very risky. A third party can still snipe the item. Items are useful, but you need to unlock spells from your class. To unlock them, some kind of experience points are granted to you over time while you are fighting. The white ones are tied to the weapon. You will spend them to unlock a new spell for that weapon. However, the yellow points are like the free XP in World of Warships. You can spend them to unlock skills of a weapon that you have never played before. Once you used your points, you can't respec them. In this game, you can play every weapon. Weapons are tied to armor classes. For instance, you can play bow in a heavy armor, but you can play a weapon with a lower armor class, which opens you the possibility to play musket in medium or light armor. Therefore, according to your gameplay, you may swap between the bonus provided by the Carnifex set or the Rock set 1. To conclude with the spells, once you like a weapon, try to unlock the ultimate as fast as you can. The power of your character will skyrocket. To unlock it, you will need to follow the path of spell leading to it, and you need to pay a fee in skill pages. You can obtain them by playing during the deathmatch event on Monday and Thursday night, by doing your weekly quest, finding them in abandoned places in the open world, but they are pretty rare. You can also buy them at the market, but be careful with the price, they can be very expensive. And to conclude this video, I have a reward for the viewers. There is a reset of daily quests at 6 PM CET. You will have to be in town a bit before, and to have completed your daily quests. At 6 PM, you will notice that the question mark from NPC will turn to an exclamation mark. Don't quit the client now. Otherwise, you will lose everything. Accept the quest. In our case, we are interested in the quest given by the sheriff. Victory, 3 battles, 5 battles. They will give you an extra 600 honor and 2 requisition once completed. I hope this first introduction part will help you. The second part will be about expeditions, open world and rebel camps. One last advice. Please don't craft or buy unit kits unless you have already T5 units. You need to keep your silver coins at all costs. I will explain the reason later. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them when I'm live in the chat or when I'm streaming. The community of Lustars is getting bigger and bigger each day. And despite my French accent, sorry, the Lustar from the first hours asked me to make some guides about CBs. So here we are. Before the season 3 starts, play on IA, on Siege or Field Battle. If you get wrecked, it doesn't matter. You will improve drastically. They don't even know, but they are already lustered.